your host, Cash Money Morgan. How's it going? Oh my gosh, you look so good. It's been so long. How's your kids? Oh my gosh, are you so excited for Christmas? Are you so ready? Hey guys, and you're like, what the heck, Morgan? What the actual heck? Guys, let's chat. I'm actually super excited to chat. And the crazy thing is I'm actually a night person and I'm recording this episode at freaking 10:27 p.m. on, what day is it? A Wednesday night. I literally dropped the podcast in 2 days. But if you're listening to this now, that means I recorded 2 days before. Life is so crazy and I have so many things to talk about. My notes are just absolutely scattered and a whole mess. And there are so many things that we need to like catch up on and debrief. But let's just get so for real. So first and foremost for tonight, the last time we chatted, I was like, yo, I'll probably be in the podcast studio by now. But honestly, there's a few things that like we need to get in there. And everything is crazy right now in my life. Mentally, financially, and I really like my couch. It's like my emotional support couch, and I do love her. So, you know, I'm getting some stuff, but I do want to say that I have a bunch of new equipment. So I got a new laptop ski, some new stuff. So I'm feeling fresh. I think my goal, it's not like a new resolution for 2024, but like my goal is as soon as we're done with Christmas and stuff, I'm going to glow up. I'm going to get my hair done again. I might get some, I don't know. I'm going to glow up a little bit. I'm going to get a few, like, just a couple ideas that I don't want to spill on here, you know, whatever. But anyways, you know, got the new trend knowing, like, I'm ready to just, like, glow up a little bit, you know, just, like, a little bit, a few enhancements is the vibe. So anyways, the reason why I'm recording at 10:30 is because it's end of year. And I have never been in a full sales position before. And now I'm in sales. And woo! Like, wah! And maybe it's just because it's like marketing sales that it's different than a physical product. But I mean, I know every industry is like super crazy busy right now for the most part. You know, and everything's wild and everything is like push it out till Christmas. I just did not feel that way in my other roles. I mean, obviously it was like Christmas party and, you know, New Year and stuff like that, but I didn't really feel the pressure as much on an individual level. And like now I do, you know, so it's cool, but also everything's insane and I'm going home here in a few days. So it's just like vibes on vibes on vibes. But anyways, that's why I'm recording at 10:30 is my mind is so crazy that I went in the hot tub after work for like 2.5 hours. The ladies at my gym, they're like, oh, she crazy. Her skin, like her skin going to like turn like grapes, like her skin. And I'm like, look, Linda, like I am good. Like, don't worry about my skin. Worry about your skin. Cause you know, I be in the sauna, I be in the gym, I be in the hot tub. I have to sit in the hot tub. Okay. Like I have to like chill my brain out. So worry about yourself. Okay. I have so many friends though. They're like older ladies, but they're so nice. They're so full of wisdom. They're always like, chase your dreams, girl. You single, chase your dreams. I'm like, thank you, Linda. You just, you know, I know you said the whole thing about the skin, but Linda, you really do rock. Like you rock, Linda. But anyways, so I did that. And then I got Tinga tacos, which small plug, love Tinga here in Springfield. Yeah, Tinga, we see you. I like Tinga because it's in a downtown location, but also it's so bad, but it's like, I don't know. It just reminds me of my mom's Mexican food. Like it's not super, you know, Caesars and Tinga tacos are very different, but I really rock with their queso. So shout out to you, Tinga. So I came back to the crib tonight and I was like, yo, I want to watch some TV while I'm eating this Tinga tacos. And I put on some stupid movie, you know, like one of those filler movies that you just don't really care about and just helps like move the vibe along. So I watched this filler movie and halfway through I'm like, dang, okay, you know what? This is actually not that bad. It's actually not that bad of a movie. And then I ended up watching almost all of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, Morgan, you have to record the podcast. Like you have crap to do every single day this week. And I've been really trying to like have my little list. You know, my ADHD queens and kings know you have to have a list, you know, and I'm like trying to mark things off the list. And I had nothing to mark off today. And I'm like, Morgan, you have to accomplish one thing besides work and hot tub time. And so anyways, I had to do the podcast. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fresh. I listened to some music, some trap earlier. So I'm like energized, you know. Sidebar, I do really feel like there's been a lot of amazing music that's been dropping lately. And I know in the music industry, you know, some artists have been saying that there's less and less new organic music and more so sampling of really iconic older songs. You know, we see that with, Kanye. We've seen it with Tyga. We've seen it with, a lot of artists. And now someone like the guy, I can't remember his name, but he just did it at the Cupid Shuffle, and I'm hooked. Like, I am hooked. I'm already thinking of like TikTok ideas for me and the crew at the restaurant downstairs. Like, I'm ready to rock. So that was the sidebar, and that was my day. Was essentially, it's crazy with Christmas. Things are going on. Everything's nuts. Trying to stay mentally sane, but also like push out the stuff with the podcast. And again, if there's someone that's like, yo, I'm really good at video editing, I want to be a part of your team, I want to help you with reels or YouTube videos, like I know my skills can take you there, let me know. Willing to pay, looking for internships, looking to expand the team. So always throwing that out there. I do want to say that there is a confirmed date for the podcast party. Yes, sir. I'm super excited. We're doing 80s, 90s prom. And it's going to be such a fun time of like networking and vibes. So I don't know if I want to like publish it out to the public. So consider this if you're hearing it. Please reach out to me if you're interested and like want to learn more and want to go. Also, sidebar for my very tight friends and family is I'm releasing a very small merch drop, and it's very like VIP, very like big time listeners, close friends and fam. I ordered literally like 12 different crew necks, different styles, different patterns, different things going on, all color, like things that I think would be super sick. Very like androgynous vibes, like male and female can wear them. Lots of good stuff. So if you're also really like, Morgan, I have to be a part of this pre-order. I have to be a part of this like first time drop. Like there will be more merch in the future. I just wanted to like pump something out, like while we have all the things going on. So yeah, obviously I'm still working on a bunch of stuff in terms of the podcast. If anyone's ever like, Morgan, I want to pick your brain, learn more about the podcast. How can I be a part? I like the lifestyle brand. I like the society and culture. I like the topics. I want to learn more and be a part more. Yo, just hit my line. Like, I love making new friends. I love expanding the network. I love adding elements to my team, and it's getting to a part where it's like I need help like outsourcing certain stuff. So if you're in that position where you're like, can we just like get to know you and the vibe and then see how this could be mutually beneficial, whatever, like I'm down to clown. So lots of exciting things. And my dad told me, he was like, you need to breathe more on the podcast. I hear you, Dad. I hear you. I just get so excited and frazzled. And like when I watch my sales meetings back to take notes, I watch it in like 0.5. There's like, yeah, I watch it very fast, or whatever. So, just trying to calm down a little bit, but I get so excited. So, I mean, here we have Christmas. I'm traveling home. Then we have podcast party. We have merch drop. All these things going on, right? Just like lots of stuff happening in the pipeline. And sidebar, I'm excited to go home. And you guys know that I love travel. Like travel really it's like God travel. Like I love my family. I love you guys. I love my best friends. But I really love traveling and seeing the world so much. But even just the whole experience. So I'm obviously flying. I'm a little nervous because I'm flying United. But they were the cheapest out here on this little winter time off. But I'm going home and I have kind of a fat layover a little bit in Chicago. So I'm excited to see what happens. Like I do have to grind and get some stuff done. But magic happens whenever I'm like in an airport, and it's like such a good time. A year ago when I was traveling home for Christmas Eve, there was a huge snowstorm in Missouri. And I mean, you couldn't drive, you couldn't fly. So I was stranded in the airport for like 7 hours. And I remember I was losing my marbles that we literally, like, if you ever seen the movie like Manifest, it's literally like people are stuck in an airplane and they all have this, whatever, you can watch the TV show, whatever. So we're at my gate and like everyone at the gate just became friends. Like we're all cool, we're all tight, we all know each other's trauma, like it's like a vibe. And we get to a point where me and my girl were like, yo, let's just do a podcast, because I had all my mics and equipment inside my backpack. So we start doing this podcast episode in the middle of our gate, and one of the guys was like chilling over there. And so he ended up moving and sitting by me, actually on the airplane. If you're listening to this, what up? But I just kind of remembered. I was like, he could be listening. So he sat by me on the airplane. You know, if he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to, he would. And we chopped it up. And then he like asked me on a date, which was cool. And I went. And, you know, obviously we ended up just being like really different people with different belief systems and vibes. But it, like, you just never know what happens at the airport, you know, and you just kind of got to like see it through. So I'm excited about this weekend. I got so much to do. Can I be honest with you guys? Can I just like break it down? And I am not complaining in any way because I'm so grateful for my life, my friends, and the opportunities, everything I'm a part of. I'm so grateful. So it's like, we're traveling home for Christmas, right? I suck. Like, I have to wrap all my family's presents. Half of them are showing up like January 15th. Like, let's be so for real. So I'm behind on podcast editing videos, like mega behind. I have to pump out a bunch of content for the anti-sex trafficking nonprofit I'm a part of. So slay on that. You know, obviously all this end of year stuff. There's like one more thing that I'm like, oh, this is kind of important. I mean, I guess like finalize a bunch of stuff for the podcast party. Oh yeah, and this overarching thing that is a huge season in my life that we'll get into. So yay! If I'm being totally honest, this is the most non-Christmas Christmas season yet. And I think it's because, and we'll get into it, you know, the title of this episode is Navigating Difficult Seasons. And so we're going to get into it because I feel like having this huge thing in my life is kind of taking away the really tiny moments that I enjoy so much. I mean, definitely some months are harder than others. And I have to be kind of vague about it, but also I'm going to like talk about it. I still have so much fun, and I don't want people to think that like I'm mentally unwell. Like, everyone has those days, everyone gets those ways, you know, Hannah Montana. But I do think it sucks out a little bit of being in the moment because I'm so worried about like the future, like what, blah, 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 blah. So I just want to pause on that. But I do feel like Christmas doesn't really feel like Christmas to me anymore. Maybe it'll change like when I have a boyfriend or like when I have a kid. But I feel like the last time I felt super Christmassy was when I was 22. And I don't know. I think I just maybe was less stressed in my life and just kind of like chilled and enjoyed the moment. But as I get older, as there's like more on my plate, you know, I just feel like I don't really put an importance anymore on, you know, ice skating or Christmas lights or stuff like that. And I don't know, like maybe that's okay. Like maybe it's okay to kind of like grow up a little bit and just be like, look, I don't really need presents. I just want to be together. This is not my favorite holiday. Like, it's okay. Like, we'll just have fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like gaslighting myself and not being sad about feeling that way, but bring Christmas back. No, Christmas is fun. I'm excited to be with my family. I love Green Bay, obviously. Yo, that Chiefs versus Green Bay game was insane. I was jumping up and down in my loft. Like, you better believe I gave every single Chiefs fan so much crap. Like, that game was insane. And not to tangent, this is going to be a very ADHD episode, you guys. Just buckle up now. Not to tangent, my friend Caleb, shout out to you, Caleb. We actually put a future bet of $300 on the table that I think the Packers are going to win a Super Bowl between now and 3 years. So ideally, I think in 3 years, they will win a Super Bowl. I think just like seeing from what I saw, and we could really get into my opinion on the Packers, and we don't need to get into it, but I really respect Aaron Rodgers. I think he brought so much value to the program. I think he's a great player, but I felt like he needed to leave for us to be scrappy and grow. And, you know, just the plays that were made during that game and everything, I really see this team that's like willing to go for it. And so I really do think that we have this opportunity to get there. I mean, to have this young, scrappy team beat a Super Bowl champion team on our home turf, I'm like, we're like, sky's the limit, baby. Like, Green Bay, book your summer vacation 2025. I mean, the draft is happening there in a few years, and you already know I'm going to be there. So super exciting. That was a little football tangent for you guys on my personal opinion. But yeah, so, you know, Christmas time, Christmas season, things are going crazy. Life and life and life. Anyways, let's kind of break it down a little bit more. And before I get into, you know, the big topic of navigating difficult seasons, let's just debrief on what's been going on recently in my life. Obviously, I just mentioned a bunch of things that are going on, but I like to think of that more so as business endeavors. You know, that's podcast, that's my job, that's this, that's that. Now let's break down into like what's been going on socially. So, it's been a busy time. If you guys follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you know that I'm trying to learn how to skateboard. At first, it was so different and like scary compared to pennyboarding, because pennyboarding, I ride like Mongo style, and you just kind of like go on the board and you just kind of like pedal or whatever, and you just go. So it's super like cruise oriented. It's not really good for like crazy downhill stuff. Just really fun if you want to just cruise and catch a vibe. So switching to skateboard has been really fun because there's a lot more tricks, but you gotta be really careful, and you kind of really have to, at least for me, I watch a lot of videos on footwork and, you know, tips on how to like move my body and different things like that. So it's been really fun though. Like a few weeks ago, I like fell really bad, and that was embarrassing. But now just practicing, I've improved a lot. The only thing is I don't like skating downtown. I don't really like the pavements, and I get kind of freaked out, and I feel like downtown recently has been getting a lot rougher, which I don't love to see. But if anyone has any really good skate spots, let me know. I don't feel like I'm good enough to go to like a skate park or anything, but I just want an area where like no one's around so I can just focus on my skills and drills. So that's been going good. Obviously, I went home for Thanksgiving. That was super fun. My family decided that we were going to be a little untraditional this year, which, shout out Mom, that was a slay. Good choice. So what we did was essentially my brother and I both flew home. He's in Texas. I'm in Springfield. My sister Lauren's in Minneapolis. So we all wanted to be home for Thanksgiving, but Lauren couldn't get off work. So she went home before me, and when I got home, she wasn't going to be home. So we went there, visited my grandma, got to hang out with some friends, and then we went to Minneapolis with Lauren to celebrate Thanksgiving. So it was cool because I got to see her crib. I've never actually been to Minneapolis. I only went there when I was like really young. It's cool, you know, I don't know. I don't really think it would be like my city, but it was cool. And we had Thanksgiving at a restaurant and just chilled. And it was really nice because we wanted to shake things up, and no one in my family likes to cook. So the food was really good and it was a vibe. Yeah, I don't feel like anything crazy happened over Thanksgiving. It was just really good to like spend time with family, and enjoy it. So to family, you know, to the ones who keep it real. So that was cool. Recently, just a lot of stuff has been going on. So blessed that I love modeling. And I don't know if you guys follow me on social media, but I did mention that I did not get Kansas City Fashion Week. And here's the thing, like, honestly, when I found out, I was actually not that disappointed. And you're like, Morgan, it's okay. It's your podcast. Be honest. Like, I get that and I appreciate that love. But I wasn't that disappointed because it's in March. And when you commit to doing it, you have to go. If you don't go and you're like a designer chose you, you're like blacklisted from KC Fashion Week. So I didn't really want to be blacklisted, and it's a lot of commitment like that whole week. And honestly, with everything going on in my life, I'm like, I don't know, you know, like I don't know if I can commit to that in March. And I'm proud of myself for trying something I really wanted to do and being nervous about it and like going on the limb and like practicing. And, you know, I'm not sure why I wasn't chosen, but there is a part of me that just like understands that it's okay. Like that's maybe not what God had for me in this moment. Maybe he's protecting me from something else. I don't really know. But I'm not mad about it. So I consider that like one closed door that just like wasn't meant for me in this moment. And I think that's important because some people would take that situation and be like, oh, am I not pretty? Am I not skinny enough? Am I not, thick enough? Am I not fashionable enough? Was my walk not good? Like, don't let rejection make you really reconsider your self-worth. And that's where I think it's so important that we have to be like rooted in who we are, so that when things in life, when a guy rejects you, when a girl rejects you, when you don't get that job, when someone beats you at the race, like whatever it may be, we don't let it affect our core self-worth. We just take it and we want to turn that into energy of like, how do I become better at this skill? You know, for me, it's like, I have never done runway like that before. I'm sure my walk needed work. If I actually auditioned for something again in a runway type space, I would probably hire like a walking coach to help me really improve my runway model walk. But it's okay because that's all right and that's the vibe, and I'm cool with it. Honestly, I'm really cool. And it's funny because I've been able to have so many different photo shoots and even future ones that are in the pipeline for after Christmas. We did one with Kayla that was super fun, and Elwood, such a good time. Got to meet so many new photographers, always making new friends. And I really love the way that Springfield is getting better at having creatives collaborate together. Like, huge, massive shout out to Whitley for just really organizing this, rakish vintage pop-up that she does. She's had a number of these and she's a queen. So Whitley, we see you and we love you. This past month, I got to have my own booth at the vintage pop-up, and it's funny because I'm probably like the only booth that wasn't like raking in revenue. I'm like out here like losing money, but I wanted people to physically meet me as the podcast host, and I wanted to be like, hey, look, the podcast is very like society and culture, it's lifestyle. We're doing these episodes, I'm a Christian, like this is my vibe. We did like a live Q&A, and just we were asked people like hop on the mic, like it's a confessional, like say whatever you want. But the question we asked people is really like, what's your best piece of advice? And so we're gonna sample a lot of those here on this episode, actually. So I'm just gonna do that right now. Becky. Hi, Becky.
Hi, I'm Cody.
Yay! Some special effects on here.
My best piece of advice: say yes. I've been trying to lean into finding reasons to say yes more often than finding reasons to say no.
That's good.
And
He's a yes man.
So say yes more.
Mm-hmm. Say yes. That's the wrong button. That's the wrong one too. That's the one. Say yes more. Mm-hmm. We're just out here vibing. What's your name?
My name is Brecken.
Brecken?
Yeah.
Whoa, can you spell that for us?
Yeah, sure. It's Breckin.
Brecken. This is a personal question, but like, is your Instagram handle like Wrecking with Brecken or something? Is it?
As cool as that would be, no, it's not. It's just Brecken.
Keep that in the back pocket.
Okay. Brecken, what are you hoping to buy today at this vintage pop-up?
I don't want to buy anything. If anyone wants to trade, that's cool. I brought some stuff to trade. I brought some stuff to sell.
Okay, what are you trading these days?
I brought a couple of Carhartt coats.
Nice. Okay. All right. Shoot. I could trade you an episode. I'm just
for a Carhartt jacket.
Okay, Brecken, what would you say is like your fun fact? The weirder, the better. We need to phone a friend. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah, hop on the mic.
Okay.
He phoned a friend.
Okay, his nickname is Groovy Greg.
Yeah, my nickname is Greg So Groovy.
Brecken is a groovy Greg. No, is that like your alter ego that happens after like a certain drink or something?
Yeah.
Mine's Evelyn. Just add a few extra letters to my name.
Yeah. Only Brecken. Why isn't my sound going on? There we go. Lots of applause. Bryn, how you feeling?
I'm feeling so good and so tired because I woke up an hour ago.
You woke up an hour ago? Did you have a late night?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I could not go to sleep because last night I literally just fell asleep on my floor because I was so tired.
What were you doing last night? Is it PG or no?
It's so PG.
Okay.
I was at work.
Okay.
And so I was at work until like 9:30.
Where do you work right now?
I work at Olive Garden.
Slay. What? We eat at Olive Garden all the time.
Yeah, when's your shift?
Tonight, tomorrow. You guys should totally come.
Wait, tomorrow like lunch?
Yeah. Oh wait,
What?
no, not lunch. Oh, sorry.
That's why we.
Fake news.
Because we go to Olive Garden like Sundays afternoon for like post church. Like we sit at the bar. Well, I'm giving way too much information on the podcast.
We are
Probably
there
won't
at
have that in there. Okay, you're a server there?
Yes, I am a
Oh my
server.
gosh, I'm so mad that we never saw you. Well, anyways.
I'll start working Sunday's lunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so Britt and I actually just did a photo shoot together at Elwood Studios. I know it's super loud in here, and my ADHD is like off the charts right now. But
And it was super slay.
Super slay. So you're huge in the modeling space. When did you really get into that?
I got into modeling about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Okay.
I think it started with like content creation because I used to have like a bigger TikTok than what I do now.
Oh, what happened?
I got bored.
And just like wanted to start over or what?
Yeah, just wanted to start over. It wasn't the kind of content that I wasn't
Gotcha.
going to be like fully doing. Like I wasn't like fully into it. It just kind of what went viral.
Yeah.
It was a starter pack for the real deal.
No, exactly. It taught me so
I
many
feel like
valuable
it
lessons.
sucks when like something goes viral where you're like, no, it's not actually like what I want to be like represented as. Like, that's
No,
not
this is
me.
terrible content. Why do you guys like this?
So why did you go? Like, what was it? Why'd you go viral?
I had a full astrology TikTok account.
Wow.
With 8,000 followers. I would go viral every single day.
What's your sign?
It's because the girlies go crazy for that. They're like,
I know.
oh my gosh, I know that his star sign is a blah, blah, blah. That's why he cheated on me. And I'm like, no, Becky, it's just because your man sucks. Like,
Yourself the allowance to be able to tell yourself that you're going to start it tomorrow. You're lacking the discipline to be able to push yourself forward towards what that like action is going to be.
That's
trying to
good.
ascertain.
yeah.
Because, you know, nobody else is going to take the first step except for you. You're the only person who has your legs. You're the only person
Yeah.
walking in your shoes. You're the only person who can make you successful. As much as we love to like place the blame on like other things, like, oh, I don't have opportunities, oh, I don't have, etc.
That's right.
There's always a step that you can be taking, no matter how much of like a baby step it is, to be able to be moving towards your goals. The only aspect that you can control is when you start.
That means it's lit. Obviously, with the fireplace on the mic. Oh, you want to get that? Like a show the fireplace. Fire! Okay, so I'm here with these super cool chicks. All right, what's your name? What's your vibe? Like,
I am Carson McCrary.
Okay.
And I'm really short, but I have a good vibe.
the vibe
Some
is
short
good.
people aren't fun, and I
What?
can say that because I am short.
Actually, it is confirmed. I do have some people that are short that I haven't gotten along
yes,
with. But you have a great
But
vibe.
I have a good one. I have a good one.
It's a good vibe. Okay, you.
My name is Josie Collier.
Yeah.
Just chilling, just doing whatever.
Just
vibing,
chilling?
as I do
Okay,
every day.
Yeah. So you guys both work at Classics.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I literally have a Classics commercial that's
Yes.
inside my episode.
I
so.
see she in the bathroom. I've seen
You've
your like
seen that?
thing on the wall, and I'm like, I've seen that before.
Talk about advertising,
Yes.
baby. That's what's
Yes.
up. Oh my gosh, you guys are so slight. Okay, so piece of advice. Doesn't gotta be that deep, or it can be deep. It's really up to you.
Okay. Oh, do you have one? Oh my God, did we just have?
I mean, you,
Yeah.
you kind of
first.
said what I was going to say.
Okay.
I was gonna just, my advice is like, never take anything that seriously. Like,
Don't take anything that seriously. It's not that big of a deal.
deep. It is never that deep. Like,
Yeah.
another day will come. Everything will be okay in the end.
Yes.
The world, the universe is on your side. Like, it'll all
And
be
if
okay.
it is that deep, go to therapy. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, hang out with your friends.
Right.
Thank you. All right, what's your piece of advice?
I was gonna say, be very aware of like your friendships in your life, especially
is
as a
good.
girl and a woman, and as a man, of course, too. But
Who you surround yourself with it has a huge
critical.
impact on who you are.
Yes.
So really, like,
yes, and mental health and all the things.
Yes.
So, have good friends.
Okay, now let's like switch it up really fast. Best piece of dating advice, or ick, or a red flag. Like, what do we got? What's
okay.
like? Oh my gosh, I see that and like, I'm done. Like,
The list is too long, actually.
but what's like one of like the corniest like number one things? You know?
Ooh,
Oh, gosh.
like pot. My dad said this to me the other day. Okay. And I do have a boyfriend, and I feel like this is where I asked him. I was like, Dad, I've never asked you for dating advice before. Like, what's your number one piece of advice? And he was like, don't make it about the physical. Just make it about like
Emotional.
actually emotional, and like, do you guys connect? Because everyone can connect physically.
Yeah.
If you really
Well,
want to. Well, not everyone, but you can like force that more than you can an emotional connection.
One thing about me is that I don't play games unless it's ping pong at Classics Yard. Classics Yard is Springfield's #1 social sport and game center. It is located in the back of Classic Rock Coffee Company headquarters and next door to the Riff. Coffee, sports, music, what more could you want? Located at 1900 West Sunset Street in Springfield, Missouri. Be sure to check them out, play some games, and reserve your event today. Visit www.classicsyard.com. Weren't they amazing? Like, seriously, they killed it. Everyone there was so creative. And I'll tell you guys, like, this past year, I really fell in love with custom pieces. And that's why I rock with the Love brand so much, is they just kill it when it comes to custom. And I know for myself, I want to get better at sewing so I can make my own pieces. But whenever I see something custom, I'm like, I have to have you. Even my one chick I met, she like made this like custom denim bag that you'll see in a lot of my photos. I'm like, I love this. So it's cool that as we as humans like are always growing year over year, you never stop growing. But even no matter what age you are, you can always learn a new skill. Like I'm 24 and I'm learning how to skateboard and I want to learn electric guitar this next year, you know? So picking up a skill, whether it's, you know, a language or you want to get in the gym or you want to learn an instrument or whatever it is, like you can do it, you know? I think it's better for our brains as well when we're kind of having diversified talents and skills and learning different things at different times. That's just my opinion. So, I mean, do not like URL me on that. But yeah, so the Vintage Pop-Up, we met so many new people. Welcome to the podcast. So excited to have you guys be a part. And I'm so glad I did it. I don't know if I'll be at like the future ones or whatever. But it was so fun having a presence and like continuing to get better. And despite what anyone thinks, you know, things are hard and they take time. You can't be amazing at everything. So yes, I will get better at videos. I will get more listeners. Like I will be better because I'm still being consistent and working as hard as I can. So when someone has their own opinion of like, well, blah, 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 you have to not let it affect you. And that's like me speaking to myself because it does. Like we words hurt. Like that's the situation, but not letting it affect you and just turning that into motivation of like, I will prove you wrong. And then I won't have you on the podcast. I'm just kidding. I'm retired from being petty, but occasionally it still happens on accident. So slay. Yeah. So getting in there. Fun fact is I actually hopped on Toe's and Trey's podcast, the Mismatch Pod. I'm not sure when the episode will drop. And I think I forgot that I forget what it's like to be on a podcast since I have my own. Like when I'm on my own, I understand, hey, Morgan, you have no idea who's listening to this. Like you got to have boundaries and talk about this, this, and this. When I hop on someone else's podcast, like all that pressure just kind of goes out the door and you forget about all those parameters. So I definitely probably like said a few things, some receipts. I probably dropped, I don't know. Honestly, I don't really remember, but I feel like I never say names or anything, but I feel like it definitely dropped some interesting stories. So whenever that drops, you'll have to tune in or not. I mean, whatever. But slay. They're so fun. And Toe and Trey, we've been friends in college and they're so sweet how they like listen to my solo pod. So definitely it was a great podcast experience to be a part of. And I sometimes as a guest, like I didn't realize how important it is and how welcoming it means like when the host is really, really into the conversation and is really welcoming. And that's something that I definitely am like, I hope that I'm like that for my guests, and I want to make sure that I'm being better, especially when they come on, because it really does make a difference, you know, how you treat people, relationships, making them feel welcome. All of that's important. So you guys killed it. Big slay. I can't wait for it to drop. Hopefully it impacts somebody. Go ahead and get into the topic for tonight. So you could say, okay, Morgan, well, why did you choose navigating difficult seasons? Like I follow you on Instagram and you don't really seem like you're going through a difficult season. Great question. I would definitely say that mentally I'm doing a lot better. When I say for my own personal season right now, it's not this whole thing where it's like my life is trash, I'm super depressed. That's just not how I am right now. That's just not the vibe. And definitely probably a few episodes ago, maybe I was more so in that mindset. I would say my life is great. And I'm so thankful for all the things God is doing. God is for sure moving. And I'll give a few examples as to just like little things he's doing. But I will say there is something in my life that is this like bag of uncertainty. And it is making this season hard. It is sucking some of the life out of my happy season. And I cannot get into specifics at this moment. In the future, for sure, in my tell-all book someday, duh, but not right now. The last time I felt this exact way actually was when I was picking a college. I remember I was 17 years old, going to Seymour High School, living in Green Bay. And at the time I was having beef with God in my life. Like I loved him and I knew I was called for a purpose. I was like, God, I love youth. I love youth ministry. Like I love creativity. I love people. I don't know what job you have for me. I don't want to be in Wisconsin anymore. Like, what do you have for me? And I remember having so many options and just not knowing and being super confused and all these things and really just like praying and not hearing. I remember asking my pastor and he was like, well, fast and like stop applying for scholarships. And I was like, dog, bro, we are like 2 months away from graduation. I can't like stop applying for scholarships. He's like, stop applying for scholarships. And I did. And I just like didn't apply for any more scholarships for like 2 weeks. And then I remember out of the blue, I grew up in Missouri and he had told my mom like, oh, has Morgan ever heard of Evangel? And I grew up in a non-denominational Christian home. So I didn't really know anything about Assemblies of God. And they're very similar, but there are a few differences. And so I never even knew what Evangel was or the network of AG. And I remember I came and toured Evangel with my dad and just walked the campus. And literally when I walked the campus, I felt this huge amount of peace. And I was like, this is my home. This is it. It was like the craziest thing. Like I did like an overnight weekend tour, but at the very end, I just told my dad, I was like, yeah, this is it. Like the thing about me is I don't know how to make decisions, but when I know, I know. That's why I have like a few different tattoos. It's like, I don't know all the things in my life, but I know I want that on my body forever. So, slay. But, that was a huge moment of uncertainty. I remember thinking like, should I go to Texas? Should I go to Chicago? Should I go to Virginia? Should I go to Florida? Whatever it is. And then, Missouri was perfect. And I think in my own life and uncertainty right now, it's just funny how like God's timeline is not our timeline. I'm like, I need to know now. I need to know this. I need to know blah, 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 blah. Why are you doing this? When I tell you that like, there have been moments recently that have been really hard about this one area that I have gone into my bathroom and gotten on my knees like multiple times a day and will like cry out to God and be like, bro, I like literally give me something. Like I am struggling and I'm a lot better now. Now I'm just like blindly like, okay, God, lead me. I know nothing. I was at church one day by myself and like no one else could go. And I went to church and I knew I was like, I should get prayer about this. But I was like, whatever, I'm okay. Like other people probably need prayer more than me, whatever. And it was a really good sermon. I remember one of the pastors on our team at church was like, so instead of doing our regular altar call, we're actually going to have everyone around each other, like pray for each other. If you're going through like a really uncertain, difficult season. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this just always happens to me. So I raise my hand and this girl comes up to me and just lays hands on me and is just like praying hard and like in the spirit and just saying all the things. And she's so cool. Mary, if you see this, you rock. But I was just crying, just absolutely crying. And I think, there's so many things that happen in life and we feel like no one gets my struggle. God doesn't see me. This is not that important. This is just a really hard time, whatever. But it's like he sees you so hard. He knows you so hard. He wraps his arms around you so hard. And he has a plan for you so hard. And the lies that try to come into our head that like, there is no plan, like we can just do whatever. There's no intentionality. Life is about being in the moment. There is intentionality. There's a moment. And, my plan was maybe like do this or do that and be this and be that. But this patience, this like learning, I'm learning so much right now in this season of uncertainty. And I'll tell you what, I've had these massive, deep conversations with friends about God recently. We had a small group about purity this past week. Shout out to everyone who wrote an anonymous story for purity. You guys absolutely rock. It was huge. We talked about like, not just like living pure in terms of physical sense, which I mean, that's, very important as well. But we really talked about how to live pure in your heart and what that looks like and, accountability and stuff like that. In the small group, like when I tell you the Holy Spirit took over, I mean, we had people, trauma dumping, we had people crying, we had a lot of prayer. There was a lot of like past and shame that was released in that moment and just like a lot of love happening. And I think to myself, if I would have done my plan of like whatever my plan is, you know, maybe that moment would not have happened. So at this point in my life, I don't freaking know anything. I'm like, okay, God, this is, my whole life is in your hands. Like, do I have any say in anything? I'm like, well, whenever you decide, I love this option or this option, but you know, like whatever you want, bro. Like that's my relationship and that's my life right now. But I will say, right now I'm a lot better, a little bit in mindset, but there have been a few weeks that have been treacherous. And so I want to give a few things that I do to cope, or like ways to help cope in difficult seasons. So first and foremost is pray. You know, talk to God. The thing is, there's so much in life. Like I'm someone that does have, like I call it circumstantial anxiety, is that I'm typically, you know, anxiety free. I know how to manage my anxiety, but when I get a moment of high anxiety, I am very prone to like anxiety attacks. So really being able to manage, you know, my environment, my routine, what I'm eating is very, very important to me. This is total sidebar, but when I used to be on Hinge, I was just thinking of this guy in his profile. He was like, I'm really attracted. And then it said like to girls who are on Lexapro. And so if you don't know, Lexapro is like a medicine for anxiety, but that just like made me laugh. Anyways, prayer is huge. There's been a lot of things in my life that were really hard moments, or like people are going through things and like they have to like experience it for themselves, and I have no control. But what I can control is praying over them. So that's really big. Don't discount prayer. It's amazing. It's huge. Utilize it. 2, and this is really based on your personality type, is I'm someone that has to talk it out. So if I'm having a rough day, I need a whatever, half the time I'm not looking for advice. I don't need your opinion. I just need you to listen to me. And I know a lot of other humans are that way. So especially if you're trying to be a good friend, just listen to your friend. They might need to just vent it out. Or you might have maybe some more introvert friend or someone who's more private that's like, I don't want to talk about it. I just don't want to be alone. Be there for that friend. If that friend just wants you to watch a movie with them, be there, you know, show up, like whatever it is. I think it's important that when you're going through a hard time, you can feel safe in your friend group and you can really lean on each other. That's why our small group works so well. And I think that's why I've still been growing a lot in my faith, is obviously it's like me chasing after God, but having an accountability partner in my life that's checking in on me and not just like telling me what I want to hear. She's straight up. Like I've told her, we've talked about this season and everything going on. And, you know, she'll say things like, well, Morgan, do you feel strong in your boundaries? Like, do you feel strong in this? Like, do you feel, and I'm like, She'll say, you know, why do you keep begging God to go change or do this and use you when he's using you in Springfield, when he's using you right now? And I'm like, that's good. You know, that's good. And so I know there's a lot of things that God's doing in my life, and I'm on this podcast and I'm just like, I don't even know, like, I don't have some secret sauce. I'm just telling you that this is my life, as I'm living day to day, and I'm like choosing to live for God, and I love my environment. I really do. But you know, there are things that I'm like, I would also love this, or I would love that. And, so it's just hard. Like I struggle so much with being patient. I suck at it so badly. And so that's what I feel like I'm trying to learn in this season, is understanding patience. And so there's a lot of moments, there's some days that are really harder than others. And there's this feeling of not being supported by certain things in your life. You know, you're consistently feeling isolated or certain things. So whatever it is, you have to find outlets to give you joy that isn't maybe something that's taking it away from you. So obviously for me, it's like, you know, our church, my friends, the hot tub, the gym, skateboarding, ping pong, pickleball, you know, hanging out with friends, like making new friends, karaoke. Gailey's karaoke is ending here soon, and I'm very unwell about it. But yeah, I think it's important to, you know, find whatever is going to help you cope through those emotions. You know, for a lot of people, it can be the gym. I'm more of a spa girly when it comes to my emotions. But yeah, I mean, everyone's got their thing. And I think the biggest thing you can do is don't distract yourself. deal with it. If you need to cry, if you need to let it out, like if you need to hit something, like not a person, do it, you know, and that's how you get through it. Don't distract it, pretend like it's not there, because then all of a sudden 10 years later it comes out and you're in therapy and you hurt people around you. So be mindful of what's going on and really take control of that environment. The crazy thing I also want to talk about is like navigating difficult seasons. Is I feel like I'm going through this one that we're talking about in my life, right? This like uncertainty, this big aspect. It's pretty big for me. And in the past, in my friend groups, it's like when someone's going through a hard time, say it's like a breakup or something crazy, it's like one person in the group is going through something and everyone else is like kind of going through something, but it's like not nearly as bad. But I don't know what's in the water, because I feel like everyone's going through something really bad. It's not like something mild. Like it's like, oh, Morgan's going through this, but so-and-so is having this, and so-and-so is having this, and like they're all individually really bad. And I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I think it's weird, but I also think, you know, a lot of us are going through difficult things and we're all having to like rely on God in our own way. And when I tell you that, I mean, I cling to the scripture, I don't know what else to do. Like I will have these moments of like just feeling gutted and I have nothing else to do to give me joy besides like listen to the worship music and just say scriptures over my life. I'm going to read one that really stuck out to me that I literally added it to my carousel for my Instagram post. And it's just funny that when I'm going through these seasons and I'm like doing my own Bible reading, it's like these kinds of verses that show up. You know, people are like, God doesn't talk to me. Well, do you read your freaking Bible and see what his word says? Like this is where he talks to, bro. This is like one of the ways. I don't even know which passage this comes out of, but I screenshotted it. So it's definitely from the Bible. But it says, show me the right path, O Lord. Point me out the road for me to follow. Lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves me. All day long I put my hope in you. Not Monday, not Friday, not Wednesday, not when it's a good day, not just when it's a bad day. All day long I put my hope in you. So I'm just a silly little goose that is like, I don't know what I'm doing. God, lead me. Like, dude, you've never failed me. You didn't promise me an easy life. Like, I wasn't promised sunshines and roses, you know, maybe in heaven. But I was promised that he's here to comfort me and he will not let me down. That phrase, not let me down, does not mean that I'm guaranteed anything. Who knows what will happen, but he will never leave me nor forsake me. And I think that's what I have peace with, is I know where my hope and joy comes. And again, this wasn't trying to be preachy or anything, but like when we're talking about hard seasons, we have to be so for real. Because a lot of hard seasons can shape us in the way that we have our worldviews. You know, people can say, well, how could a good, loving God let me go through this hard thing? But I think people forget, like, we live in a broken world, but this world is of darkness. You know, it's people make bad decisions. I've made bad decisions. I put myself in situations where I've gotten out of them and been like, oh my gosh, I feel disgusting. Like, I feel so worthless. And so understanding that, you know, God's not doing these things to us. He's saying, you know, I'm here with you. I have more for you. I have a plan for you. And I'm here to comfort you. And so it's, you know, everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own journey. And definitely different traumas are very difficult. I'm not saying anything, you know, like that. I'm just saying this is my story. This is how I'm getting through my life. This is how I find my joy. And this is how I don't let any situation or anything have this hold on my life that is my identity. Like, I know, child of God, Morgan Pagel, nothing from the past is holding any weight on me or my future. And I know that's how it can 100% be for you too, no matter what your life is. We are promised that, you know, God is with us and all of that. So it's, you know, everyone's going through hard seasons, and I just know that, especially if you're one of my friends or even just a listener, like, I pray for you guys all the time. And I don't really know what your season looks like. I don't know how you're coping with it. Again, I always say that my DMs are open. I'm always here if you ever need to chat. But I do think it's so important that you do something like for yourself. Like, don't let yourself get into this cooped up hole. You know, if you need that time, you know, give yourself a few days, but really, you know, boss your feelings around and say, hey, look, you know, I'm going through this hard time, but is there any good in this situation? Like, did I learn anything? Am I able to take this pain that I went through? Am I able to help others that went through this? You know, how can I use this for good? How can this be a beneficial thing? And what's so crazy, and I will say this is one of the biggest blessings God's given in my life, is oftentimes when I'm in my absolute worst seasons, there's someone else in my life that's going through the exact same thing. Like, we're talking exact. Like, for example, a few years ago when I was going through a massive heartbreak, one of my best friends was, and it was like very similar situations. And we're like, dang, this kind of sucks. But like, low key, we're doing it together. And I know this certain season that I'm going through right now, I have another person in my life who's going through the exact same thing. So don't tell me that, you know, there's power in numbers. There's power in coming together and being there for one another and praying for each other. So whatever your season looks like, I want you to know that you're not forgotten. And it's not like God doesn't see you. He doesn't understand what you're going through. He sees you, you know, and maybe you're being called and you're trying to learn, like, ask God, like, what do you want me to learn in this season? Is it patience? Is it perseverance? Is it how to love you despite what's going on? Am I supposed to be here and do something? Like, there's a lot. And I just look at my life, and if I wanted what would have happened, my life would have been so different. But being able to have, you know, our small group last Friday and just pray over these girls, and it was one of the most like spiritual, impactful nights, and you could just feel the Holy Spirit moving, that it makes me so emotional. It makes me so emotional because I would have never started this if I didn't go to church camp in May and like have a huge humbling experience of like, Morgan, what the heck are you doing with your life? You know, you're worried about money and podcasts and work and all this stuff when there are people who are committing suicide around you. There are people that are struggling with their identity, their mental health, depression, all these things. And I'm so busy and focused on networking in my social life. Like, that to me was a huge slap in the face where I was like, what is God speaking to me? What does he want to do with me? And that's really when I came back to Springfield and was like, oh, hey, I need to make some lifestyle changes. Like, I don't like how I'm spending my time. I don't like the priorities I have. And now that I've switched, it's just so eye-opening and like understanding, you know, letting myself be used by God. I'm so emotional about it. Like, I don't know if you're like, oh, Morgan's strong. I'm like, who said that? Where are the receipts at? I've been crying in the shower heavy. Like, but I like being in tune with my emotions. I like the fact that heartbreak didn't make me hard. I like the fact that friend breakups didn't make me not make new friends. I like the fact that I can go through a difficult season and still be optimistic and still give people a chance. And I like that. And so, you know, I don't know what your season has to hold, and I don't know what mine does. But what I do know is that I'm trusting God through it despite whatever the outcome is. And understanding and really asking him, like, what is the purpose of this season and what do you want me to learn? So I don't know if hopefully that speaks to somebody, but that's about as real as I can get. And this is so bad, but I'm always like, when I'm going through a hard time, I get a tattoo. So we're fighting the urge right now, but everyone's got to cope their way. You know, you cope through a breakup, you get your hair done. You cope through a bad day at work, you get a new Coach bag. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. So that's me. Looking through this list, I can't even read it. Like, I've never been a legible, like, waitress. I've always just, like, written in hieroglyphics. It just is the way that it is. To transition a little bit into, like, celebrity gossip, I guess. That's not really the vibe, but pop culture, if you will. Kendall Jenner and Bad Bunny broke up. So nobody cares, but I very much felt like that was a PR relationship. So it's kind of nice that it's just like coming to an end. A lot of rumors right now about Kendall Jenner, which are crazy. I'm not going to get into that. Matt Rife. Obviously, if you listen to the podcast in the summertime, you know that he came to Springfield and I missed him in the street by an hour, which was crazy. But honestly, now I'm not even mad about it because he's getting crazy canceled. And I listened to a podcast where he was talking about women and I wasn't a fan. And then the Netflix special. And then obviously on the canceled podcast with Tana Mojo and Brooke Schofield, she outed him about playing with multiple women, hurting their hearts, having relationships with lots of women. So obviously crazy stuff. I mean, you know, there's forgiveness for all these people on the other door. But I definitely will not be getting Matt Rife tickets. So there's that. Honestly, nobody cares. This is not a celebrity gossip podcast, but I know if Eva were sitting next to me right now, we'd be chopping it up heavy about that stuff, which pin in that, definitely gonna circle back to that. And you know, we're going into Christmas. I encourage you to spend time with your friends and family. You know, if you see someone who's homeless or struggling, you know, give what you can. Be kind to all people, especially while traveling. People that are working in the airports, you know, flight attendants, everyone, you know, just like be really kind and loving during this season. Actually, I mean, during all times, to be honest. And in this next year, I always like to pick really, you know, I'm not a big like resolutioner. My resolution last year was to floss more and I was really good. And then I kind of stopped being as good. But that's actually my resolution this year too. No, I'm playing. My resolution this year is definitely to like learn electric guitar. But also I like to pick a word of the year. A few years ago, my word was like energy, and that sounds so like Gen Z, but it was like I didn't want bad energy to affect me. Okay, this doesn't sound good either. I don't remember. It was like I'm not gonna I remember now. I was like, I'm not gonna give things that don't serve me energy. That's what it was. Yeah. So I don't know the word I'm gonna pick for this next year. I need to pray about it, to be honest, and really think on it. I'm so corny. I want to pick like a song and a word and a vibe of the year, like nobody asked. I will say one thing about myself though is I'm a nostalgic Nancy. Like I love scrapbooks. I love collecting like the little things that are memorable, like first dates. If I really like the guy, like I will keep, you know, say we went to like a basketball game, like I'll keep the ticket. Or, you know, if he gets me a gift or like, I don't know, he writes me a cute note, I keep that stuff. Like, I love that stuff. I don't know. So recently I have this like book and I've been making a scrapbook, but it's really just one of those like, I don't know, like artists will buy it for sketches, but I've turned it into kind of a scrapbook and I'll put in it's basically in my mind, it's a film lookbook. So I've been putting like my film photos in there and then I want to write like cute little captions and put like stickers and then just like designs and doodles. But a lot of my film photos were like when I was like in a bad era. So a lot of them are just kind of like crazy town. But I guess it's like the story of me, like my growth and all the things that have happened. So I don't know. I'm really like, I love understanding memories and moments and soaking it all in. And I said it in, I don't know. I think it was one of the podcasts or something, but I was like, I wish I knew I was in the good old days before they left. And I'm in them. Like, obviously whatever my next chapter is or whatever happens in life, those will also be good old days. But, you know, the loft, the people in the restaurant, my friends, the community, I'm definitely living in some freaking good old days. So thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. I hope you were impacted. This solo pod was a little different, but I think it's a good vibe. It's a good little airport listen. So please follow the YouTube channel, any of those social medias, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you haven't yet, please leave a review. I love reviews. Facebook, Apple, Spotify, the cornier, the better. You guys know this. But yeah, again, if you need to reach out to me about the podcast party or about a season you're going through, please do. Or about, hey, Morgan, I gotta be on this VIP list for the merch. Do it. Yeah, I think that's everything. Or yeah, if you want to donate at all to the trademark fund or even Oh shoot, this is literally my life. What was the last thing? If you want to help with any video content, hit my line. So yeah, okay. So ending this episode with a favorite quote. Oh, I already know what it is. I do not need my phone. So this is a recent favorite quote based on life. How you do anything is how you do everything. I love that. I was reading, we're about to end the podcast, but whatever. I'm reading 2 separate books right now. One's about like healthy marriages, and the other one is the CEO of Tom's, right? I only read the books when I'm in the sauna, so that's why I've been reading it for like 10 months. But so the one about the CEO from Tom's, he says that typically companies that start from nothing often have a longer success rate than ones that have a lot of capital in the beginning. Capital's money, because they understand the grit and how the budgeting of starting from nothing, that they can sustain that when they get bigger, versus when you have a lot of money, you don't necessarily understand the value of it and like grind to get there, versus someone that started from nothing. And so I like the idea of how you do anything is how you do everything. You know, CEOs that, know every single person's name and like washes the feet of the maintenance guy, like not literally, but really is very humbling when it comes to their team and how they operate and all of that and everything you do. Like I hope that I'm a person that I'm the same in all types of settings. There's no switch up from church, from work to the streets to whatever it is. Like I'm the same. And so I just really think like how you do anything is how you do everything. And that speaks so loud to your character. I would say favorite song right now. There's so many. It's been a great season for music, to be honest. Let's see right here though, if I had to pick one. Okay, so I didn't realize I'm a pretty big alt rock person. I didn't realize that like half my favorite songs were all part of that genre. So it's been a weird season, right? So my Spotify Wrapped, Apple Music, I'm an Apple girly pop. My Apple replay said that it was like all Lauren Daigle. So I was like, dang, you really were going through it this year, huh? And then it has like all Lauren Daigle, and then the very bottom it just says Numb, Linkin Park. Like, so I only started listening to that song like I don't even know, October. So I would say Numb, Linkin Park, just because it just gets me really energized. And then Legacy. I've mentioned a lot of times that like I want to look like Jesus in the sense where I just want people to feel loved. I want them to feel heard. I want them to feel comfort from me. But I think too, in terms of legacy, I want to be as authentic as I possibly can. And I just want to keep doing whatever God wants me to do. And I think, I want people to see like Morgan, remember me as someone that was just, giving and there. She was there, she was kind, and she was authentic. So, I don't know. I love you guys so much. Thanks for keeping up with the pod. I'm actually excited to go home, though, because one of my family members is getting on the podcast with me. If everything works out, you'll have to guess which one it is. But, so have the best time. Be safe. And remember, keep up with cash. Okay, bye.